Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a paid advertising. TheOnlyGround.com, the THE onlyground.com is one of the most amazing places for information that I consistently go to. If you guys want to have conversations about our old interviews or even topics that we don't discuss, the group of people that are on the onlyground.com message boards are some of the most brilliant that I have ever come across. Those little like knick-knack facts that we get here and there, that's where a lot of it comes from. Please check out the link in the bio.
Welcome to the show. I am MMA insider and Herb Dean's dog sitter, Joey Venti, and you're listening to the MMA History Podcast, the only podcast dedicated 100% to the preservation of mixed martial arts history. Interviews and stories about the early days of MMA direct from the men who lived it. Hundreds of interviews, thousands of hours of research, all conducted by the most obsessed mind in the business, the MMA detective Mike Davis. Join us as we document the history of the sport we all love.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back at the MMA History Podcast. I am the MMA detective Mike Davis, and today we have one of the sport of mixed martial arts biggest mysteries. Like, I have a list of like what if fighters, if they would have done this or that. This guy right here, Marcelo Mello, is at the top of that list, and we've got a lot more questions than answers. Marcelo Mello, welcome to the show.
Hi there, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope I can clear all the mystery around.
There really is. So our first introduction to you was at UFC 20. And when you got to see like how you fought, the tools that you had, bro, it was mind-blowing. I thought for sure your next fight's against Pat Miletich for the 170-pound title, but your journey doesn't begin there. So why don't we start from the beginning? What was your introduction to jiu-jitsu?
It was in 1989. A friend of mine, he saw tape with Rickson Gracie at the beach fighting against the
Hugo
Lutha
Duarte.
Livre guys, you know. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I saw them, man, I got crazy. I said, this is it. This is what I want to do for my life. And I quit college and everything. I said, I found myself, you know. And back in the days, the most prestigious gym was Carson Gracie.
Oh, yeah.
Like all the warriors were there training, big names, big guys. And some people, they even were afraid to go there to train. Like it was a special gym, very different, you know, back in the days.
Well, and, was this at the same time where Carlson and Holes shared the same building?
No. Okay. I guess Royce Gracie died at 1986.
Okay.
It was 1989.
After. Okay.
1989. But I had the privilege to be among great guys as De La Riva, Walid Ismail, Cássio Cardoso, even Carson Gracie. I had the privilege to not sparring with him, but have him on the mat with me and other guys and get a little bit from his brain, you know. Like I think that was the thing that made that gym different from the other gyms was the way we look and the way we used to do things to get prepared for whatever it is, vale tudo, jiu-jitsu, like they were warriors, no doubt about it, man.
So when you were training at with Carlson, at that time, his belt structure was a lot different than it is now. It's when somebody got promoted to black belt, it was somebody had to replace them at brown belt and somebody had to replace that person at purple belt. Am I correct on that?
Yeah. Even sometimes what happens, this happened to me. I was a blue belt, but as a blue belt in other gyms, I used to tap black belts. Like
wow.
The belt at Carson Gracie was simply just to hold the gi, like didn't make much back in the days. Like, of course, we knew that a black belt from Carson Gracie was you're supposed to be special, like it's not for everybody. He never sold black belts. Like he had a very, very hard way and make it harder as much as possible for you to get a black belt. Like you probably will be a doctor faster than you'll be a black belt at Carson Gracie back in the days.
Okay. So your first day training, how would you describe it?
My first teacher was Carlson Gracie Jr.
Okay.
Like I had some little background in jiu-jitsu because I was friend from Rodrigo Gracie, and we used to train a little bit. Rodrigo Gracie is a Rickson Gracie's son. He's a Carson Gracie brother.
Mm-hmm.
And but very like a white belt, nothing past, just white belt. But the first day they had two different mats back in the days. One, you do the classes. You have a teacher over there, and another one, only purple belts, brown belts, and black belts, and you're supposed to be invited to train. It's not for everybody, And I always looked forward for that other mat. I said, over there is where the magic happens, And after, I guess, 6 months, then I got invited to see what was going on in the mat.
Okay, so it's a separate room where the competitors trained. Okay, yeah. So he essentially weeded people out. Only the people that deserve to be in the room. That's your first step, is to get the invite to the room.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
It's supposed to be my first personal victory. Like, even if I got there to get killed, was a personal victory for me. So we had that we used to imagine, oh my God, what's going on over there? Because they locked the door. The train was at closed door, and we wondering, something is happening over there. It was like a magic, back in the days it was magic, man.
Okay. So you get to see a beach fight with Duarte and Rickson. You understand there's a big rivalry, almost, at that point, a war happening between the two factions. Mm-hmm. And you say, I need to get involved.
And I remember that I told to a friend of mine, we saw on tape Rickson against Zulu, fighting. Okay.
Of course.
And in Maracanãzinho was a arena very famous in Brazil. And I told the guy, I will fight in the Maracanãzinho also. And the guy said, shut up, come on, let me see the video and everything. And I fought in Maracanãzinho in 1995. But the thing is, I guess the best thing from jiu-jitsu back in the days was the bad blood with the Lutha Livre guys. That was the best thing ever, because it gave us, it put us in a sharp state of mind, and always thinking that something could happen. Even when we went out at nightclubs and everything, we could never be relaxed 100%, something might happen. Or was that aware that where's the Lutha Livre guys, where they are here. Oh, if they are here, I'm not going to even drink a beer. We used to go out with mouthpiece on the pocket because sometimes always happen. Sometimes things happen,
Did you ever get involved in any of those fights with Lutha Livre?
Almost, but I gotta tell you, it was me and two guys against over 20 guys. And I'm not Superman. I thought it was best for us to live to live alive, while we could, because they were rough. They were rough. Like jiu-jitsu guys, we were not big. We didn't do weights, and but the Lutha Livre guys, they were big, man. They were muscles all everywhere, all over, and they were big boys. And it was a scary thing, but that thing made us even better,
Did you ever get to see the relationship between Carlson and Helio Gracie?
We used to live together, me and Carson Gracie. We lived
How old were
together
you?
for over a year in Los Angeles, but while in Brazil, we were together all the time. I used to give classes with him for private students and everything, and I didn't get to see them talking. I just saw them in tournaments, shaking hands and things like that. But he was a guy very, how can I say? He said that he didn't have a nice teenage time while he was under Helio's watch. Helio was very strict,
Strict. Okay.
yeah, and very rough. The guy was like a monster, but in a good way. Like he was there to prepare champions. Like it wasn't the guy. Uh,
It wasn't a loving relationship. It was a hard
it
relationship
wasn't
to
a loving
push.
relationship.
Okay.
Especially when Carson told me the first fight that he did was he was 17 years old, I guess, and he said to me, "I never wanted to fight. I never liked it." He said, "Even that, I never liked it to fight." He said, but there was no other option for me. Like I had to do, no matter what." And they said they put me on a ring, and I was so afraid that I went down the ring the other side. I ran to the other side and I left the ring, and then they put me up again, and the guy started punching him and something, and then he started fighting. Like with 17 years old, I guess he fought a guy from Capoeira around 30 years old. He was a boy. The guy was a man, right? And that was very rough back in the days, probably.
So you describe a time very young. I mean, this is, several years before UFC 1, where you begin your jiu-jitsu journey. Who was in the room with you at the time?
I had no big names with me. I had my students and a guy that helped me a lot called Jose Luis Cadermatori. Was a guy who used to train jiu-jitsu, but never had opportunity to train in Brazil also. But they were my students. I did everything by my own. Like
In Carlson's room, in the Carlson room, when you first started, was Vitor Belfort there? Was Murilo Bustamante? Who was in the room at the time with you?
in the first 1995, the first Vale Tudo was me and Murilo Bustamante with me.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Murilo. But in the UFC, no, I was by myself.
You were by yourself at the time. That's correct. Yes. Yeah. And so did you attend the Desafio Lutha Livre versus Jiu-Jitsu in 1991? Desafio versus.
I was there.
Okay.
Looking. I was looking. I was there. I used to help them a little bit prior, like 3 weeks before the fight, to train. I was working as a sparring. I helped them a little bit, but we had also 3 or 4 other gyms helping. Like everybody were friends back in the days. Was everybody against Lutha Livre, like they got together against Lutha Livre.
So did you share a mat with like Draculino or Pedro Sauer?
I share a mat with Fábio Gurgel,
Fabio Gurgel? Okay.
Roberto Traven,
Oh, okay.
Of course, Valide Ismail, Amaury Bitetti, Zé Mario. I didn't have opportunity to share a mat with Marcelo Bering. There was a guy, a big name back in the days. Was the Rickson's best student. But all the names that you bring it, I saw them and I was on the mat with them.
Wow. So that 1991 Desafio with the Jiu-Jitsu versus Lutha Livre, it was a pretty intense fight. Was there any fights happening outside of there because of the intense rivalry?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot of fights. Because if you were in the wrong place with a jiu-jitsu t-shirt, oh my God, poor you, and vice versa. Like soccer teams, exactly as soccer teams. The hooligans against, was like that.
Okay.
And we like it. We love it. Supposed to be like that. That was the fun.
I agree with that. So there was a poignant moment in Carlson Gracie's life in 1994, the passing of his father. And I know that was a very big split between all of the family members. What do you recall about that?
Well, what I knew is this. Carson he was a very, very big heart man, but some people took advantage from him. But listen what I'm going to tell you. If I talk to Carson a bad thing about Zé Mario, he'll be mad. And then he's going to talk with Zé Mario, and Zé Mario talk a bad thing about me, he'll be mad about me. He was like a very naive. It was easy to make him look the way I wanted, or to everybody. He was very naive, like a child, like a big heart, like a very, very nice man. I miss him, but that was the problem. It was easy to influence him in the wrong way or in the right way. And he had some people telling him what to do, that you should make more money and this and that. But the Carson, he wasn't very polite in sitting on a table and make a good deal. It wasn't that guy, kind of.
He wasn't a businessman.
No,
okay.
Wasn't. And once he was in the U.S., people right here in Brazil, they get with nowhere to go. They didn't know what now. We don't have Carson right here anymore. And I guess was a natural, a sad way, but a natural way the things should go. People say, no, now is my time to open my gym. But every time you put money, because we never had money on the table. That was the problem. Once we didn't know what to do, because there were no rules and no history about what to do with when we fight, what to do with a sponsor, who gets the money, who gets paid. We didn't know what to do. That was the problem. And
so there was always problems with that because it wasn't defined.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever see Liborio and Zé Mario?
Yeah.
Did you ever see them?
A lot.
Grapple together?
Couple times, not much, because I guess Liborio was that guy was a mystery also. He never trained. He was like an example. 6 months away from the gym. He went to the gym and he tapped everybody. Was a monster. Not that great maybe for tournaments, but in the gym, he was one of the best ever. Everything was easy for him to do. A very sharp mind, very excellent jiu-jitsu as a heavyweight. He moves as a lightweight. Was unbelievable back in the days. Like we didn't have a two of a kind as he was,
Carlson used to always say, Liborio beats Rickson. Liborio beats Rickson. What were your thoughts on that?
Could be, but I guess I believe the mind connection also. Like I can have the best technique ever, but if my mind doesn't follow me, I won't be able to apply what I know. The problem was this: I guess Rickson had a superior mind over everybody. Like he was born for that, Like Liborio had to work a lot his mind to get even with Rickson. I don't think maybe inside the gym in training he could beat Rickson, but in tournaments for real, I don't think there was. He had back in the days the maturity to do it. Like
Okay.
Rickson was a different dog. Like a different breed.
Wow. What are you doing now, if you don't mind me asking?
Now I train. I do seminars. Back last year I was in Poland, in Czech Republic, also in Argentina. I go once a year in Argentina, and I train. But I'm 52 years old now. I don't train as I used to, and that's the problem. It's very hard for me that transition from an athlete that I was, and the old man that I'm becoming little by little. Like I'm not. I really don't know my place now. Where should I stand? Because I'm getting with injuries. I'm getting old, but in my mind, I still can put it up with the young boys, which is a nonsense. I know, but it's hard that transition. Is affecting me a little, and
Do
I'm
you have a
trying to
gym?
work.
Do you have a gym that you train out of?
I have. Is a Carson Gracie gym that we have right here in Curitiba. Is with my friend Gustavo Ferres.
Okay.
He opened a franchise from Carson Gracie, and is over there that I train. Is a very nice place, very nice people. I don't like anymore to go to a very competitive place where people wants to get my head away. Like
Right.
I don't need that anymore.
So did you live with Carlson in Brazil as well?
Yes, was most of the times in Brazil, me and Carson, and the United States was me, Carson, and Vitor Belfort back in the days.
So were you there for Vitor Belfort's debut?
Yes, no, not in the UFC, but
No.
I I left a couple months before his UFC debut. Yeah, a couple
Okay.
months before, because we have right here in Brazil a problem with the visa, man. The visa to travel, they make us crazy with this subject. Like we don't know why we get the visa, and we don't know why we get the visa denied. That makes no sense at all. Like, mhm. As I had, look at this, 14 times my visa denied, and I have 4 times my visa. They gave me the visa for 4 times, and they denied me for 14 times. What's the sense of this? Like, doesn't make sense. Any
No.
sense? Even I lost a fight, the first extreme challenge, which Zemario fought.
Extreme fighting
Yes, that
battle
one.
kid when he
I
fights
had a
Zinoviev.
contract to fight that one. I couldn't go because they denied my visa. I went back to Zemario. We went in LA, and Zemario said, "You know what? I'm going back to Brazil, and I come back here 2 weeks before the fight." I said, I want to do the same. I want to go to Brazil also. And then we went together to the embassy. We put the contract. They gave Zemario the visa, and I put the same contract. They denied my visa, and I was helpless, man. Like I lost the fight because of that. I couldn't fight.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating. Yeah, it's a little. Did you ever go to like the cockfights with Carlson?
No, but I saw a few of them. They were big, big cocks, big, and they had a guy, a trainer, used to call Apagavela was his name, Apagavela. I guess Carlson loved the Cox fighters more than us. Like he loves that. He always talk about that, and put money. He lost a lot of money with that too.
Yeah, I've been to a few. They're interesting. Yeah, yeah. So were you at UFC 3, 1, 2, or 3, any of the UFCs?
I went there to I saw the UFC 3, the 5, the UFC 5, and then every 2 or 3 UFCs I was there back in the days.
So at UFC 3, did you have backstage access where you saw Hoist in the locker
Yes,
room? Okay. So Hoist fights he
but I wasn't with him together. I just saw him passing by.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, but you were there. You
I
were
was there.
you were present. Hoist fights Keith Hackney, which is a very, very hard fight. That is not an easy fight.
Mhm.
He then fights Chemo, where it's a very, very difficult fight for him, but he wins after several minutes. Were you in the locker room afterward? Did you witness it?
No, no, I couldn't go to the locker room, but I can tell you this: I was nearby Kimo. I passed, but it was a monster, man, a monster. His calves, his legs, and a monster. It was nearby Royce Gracie. Was like a kid and a man with almost 300 pounds. People don't realize how good and uh, how hard was for Royce to do what he accomplished.
Yeah.
Like somehow people don't name him as he deserved. Uh, I was there in the UFC, man. Once you sign the contract, you start shaking. It's the UFC. Come on, and everybody is looking at you. And we had also imagine in the United States, a Brazilian guy, skinny, will beat the American boys, the big boys. That was very rough, and he was a hero. He was a hero, man.
Oh, for
People
sure.
people don't get him the credit that he deserved, but he was a hero.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. So Roland Payne, who was a manager who was backstage at UFC 3, said that Hoist was disoriented. He was having some problems, and Carlson was gently slapping him, telling him, "Be a man, be a man. You're gonna fight. You're gonna fight. Go out there." Did you hear any of that?
No, I didn't, but I can tell you this: for Carson, fight was very easy. Like he was a guy like this, and example, you don't have to get ready for a fight. You're a fighter, you're gonna fight no matter what. And I guess he didn't understand that people could get afraid. Sometimes people could get not believing in himself. Like that never passed through Carson's head. I guess that was a good thing. Like one the one of the things that he always used to do, no matter what um fighter you're gonna meet, he used to grab the guys by the neck and said, "Let's go. You're gonna win. It's already yours." And but with self confidence, like he used to bet money on the students, as he used to do with the cockfighters, the fights. He used to bet money on the students, like, and was like I can tell you this beyond the eyes, like it was like a magic, like it's somehow you fight better when he used to do that on us. We fought better, like with more. His presence was very full, gave us his presence gave us a lot of
Confidence.
courage,
Yeah. Yeah.
courage,
Confidence,
like
courage. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like And he didn't like it, people who were afraid. He didn't like it at all. He didn't have names for that.
Well, Vitor Belfort is known to have like mental issues while in the locker room prior to a fight. How would Carlson address that?
Well, man, let me tell you something. I guess every normal person will have mental issues before a fight. Like when minutes before my fight, I was thinking, man, what I'm doing? Like I was afraid. I say, "Well, I should study, as my mom said to me. Like, say, what I'm about to do, I don't want to do anymore. I hope the guy didn't show up. Like that was my way of thinking. And even Vitor, there's a lot of pressure on him. He left everything in Brazil, and what Carson used to do, probably did what he always used to do, like pass us a winning state of mind that you could not think different. I mean, like you're gonna win. You train hard for this, but not was beyond the words. I guess his energy, man. I believe a lot in energy. Beyond the words, like words. You can say words. I can say words, but it was his energy, man. His spirit over there is I cannot explain to you, but you had to feel it. It's different.
Do you think that he gave Vitor the Gracie last name in order to help him psychologically, or like what was the reason behind that?
Hmm. Um, Man, this. Let's think about Victor. I knew him a lot. Like
Is Victor?
we were great
Yeah,
friends back in the days. From I guess 15 years old, the guy knew as a prophecy that he was about to be the best in the world.
greatest.
Like
Yeah,
he said, I don't want to be a surfer. I don't want to play soccer. I will be a professional fighter. And no one, we didn't have that, even that profession back in the days, jiu-jitsu professional fighters. Like, and his um, self-confidence was unbelievable from Victor. And I guess was a synergy. Victor Belfort mind that was very good. And with Carson Gracie's mind, like there was a prophecy of success no matter what. And of course, man, good days and bad days we're gonna have. But Carson, as I told you, man, I, I really don't know to put in words, but was his energy, man. Like it was magic, magic. Like, and you see, people once he died, and we never had again fighters as with exponential potential as we had in the Carson Gracie gym. Like people from Carson Gracie gym, they were regular people doing amazing stuff. Like we were, most of the people, they were not rich. They didn't have good nutrition. They didn't have sleep. But they became what they became because I guess is the Carson's hand.
the magic touch.
Mm-hmm. Was like that. It's hard to explain because it doesn't have an explanation at all, man. Like, was his energy, man? Like you feel from the day one. Like you go there to train, and with you see the boys, you see the vibe from the people is different.
He, I met him several times. There was like an energy around him, the confidence that just he would ooze, just even with his words, like everything. It was different.
Yeah, even if you see, if you take a look at him, the way he dressed himself, the way he talked, the way it was, he didn't care. Like it was very self confident. For example, in a way, in a party that everybody is wearing suits, and he goes with a regular T-shirt, and that's it. Like
Doesn't
he,
care. Yeah.
he doesn't care, but like he lives in his own world, you know.
And like Walid Ishmael, he also trained him to beat great Royce in a jiu-jitsu match. Um, yeah, prior to that. I mean, right after he won his UFCs. It's like he even did it to his own family.
Yeah, but also I never saw Carson pushing any student back in the days to fight against his family. But if a guy like Valid said, Carson, I want to fight against Renzo or against Royce, he'll say, okay, let's do it. Like he had a pleasure with the winning, but he never was against the family at all like this. He was just sorry for his teenage years, he said to me some things like he never could take a shower with closed doors back in the days, things that right now sounds very crazy. If he was eating and a little bit of rice comes out of the plate, that's it. He could not eat anymore. Very strict life he had.
Oof.
Yeah. The but I guess and probably had some money issue involved, some fights that he did and he didn't get paid, or they promised him some amount of money that he didn't see that amount of money at the end. Things like that probably happened too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Carlson also had a very unique relationship with Paqueta.
Who was his great friend ever, like his brother. Paqueta was like they knew what each other they were thinking before they even talk. you know, was good to see. Very nice to see a friendship as they had.
Wow. So Paqueta was friends with everybody. He was friends with people on the jiu-jitsu side. He was friends with people from Lutha Livre,
Mhm.
but he always seemed to move the relationships to Carlson,
Yeah,
whether it's Marco
he was very
Ruas.
loyal. Even he was a very loyal friend. I wish I had a friend as he was Carson Gracie's friend, the way he was. A very loyal friend. When I fought the UFC, I was very angry with Carson because things that happened in the past. And I thank Royce Gracie. At the end, I said, thanks to Royce Gracie. And then I in Brazil, I bounce with, I bump into Paquetas, no? And first thing he said to me, oh man, I can't believe that you didn't say thanks to Carson. First thing, he was very loyal, very, very loyal friend. And I explained to him why and why I didn't thank Carson and this and that. But
Would you expand on that?
I explained to him, yes, I did.
Okay. And I don't know if I can edit this if you're not comfortable.
No, I
When
am. I am. I have no secrets at all.
so like when you look at your BJJ heroes, when you look at here is the excerpt in English. As Marcelo returned to Brazil after a first failed attempt at life in the United States, his master, Carlson, sent him with an important task of a personal nature. The task has never been disclosed by Mello or the late master, but it was at the heart of the disagreement between Marcelo and Carlson that led to his exclusion from the Carlson team. According to Marcelo, who was interviewed for this piece, Gracie was ill advised by somebody close and took a dramatic stance, demoting Mello to brown belt and expelling him from the academy. That's
That's
some
true.
that's some heavy shit.
What happened? What happened is this: Carlson had this girl, 30 years younger than him, this girlfriend, right? I'm not gonna
Okay.
say her name because I don't want to trouble. And I was in Brazil, and he called me at my house and said, Marcelo, I want you to take a look at the name of the girl, and then you let me know what's going on because I have something tells me that is not right. I say, okay, Carson, yes, I do. I will take a look for you, whatever. But man, out of nowhere, I saw the girl doing things that she's not supposed to do. You know, with another guy. Yeah,
Okay.
cheating on him. And then 3 days later, Carlson called me and I said, Carlson, I saw the girl at that place at the exactly hour, wearing these clothes, everything with this man, da, da, da. Even I can talk at her face what I saw. I was loyal. I was very loyal. For me, he was like a father, like a very, man. 4 days later, Carson Gracie went back from LA, from Los Angeles to Rio de Janeiro. And we have at the gym this place that we used to drink coffee and whatever with tables. When I turned out the corner in Copacabana, I saw Carson and this lady holding hands. And then he started screaming at me that I was a traitor. That he didn't even say hi or nothing. He didn't give me a chance to say nothing. He said, "You are a traitor. You are a liar, and this and that." And the girl also, at the same tone and at the same voice, you. And he said, the girl said, "You're supposed to take care of your life. You miserable man, and this and that." Man, they killed me. They killed me that day. And we used to give kiss on the cheek, me and Carson, all the time, right? And I went there to kiss him. He pushed me away. And I said, well, man, this is a stranger. This is a new world, no? I was thinking. And then I went up to train. And then I was training with Carlos Barreto. And that day, Carlos Barreto was killing me.
Dude, he's one of the top
he
three in
was
the world.
killing me. He was killing me. He was killing me. And then I could see from a little hole from his gi, and I saw Carson like cheering him up to beat me more and more, no? And then after that, I guess I fought in the Vale Tudo in Maracanãzinho, no? And then I bumped into him again, and then he said, "You only won because the other guy was a chicken, whatever, no?" And I said, Carson, come on, this and that. Try to talk to him and said, listen, if you don't want to train with me, that's okay. You can go. Like I don't really looking forward to have you as a student no more. And like that, man, was like that. I was in shock. I was in shock. I was a loyal friend. I did what he asked me, and everything turned out against me at the end. That was a lesson learned, and that was the reason that I was so mad. I even quit jiu-jitsu back in the days. I quit jiu-jitsu for over 6-7 months, and then I was walking in Ipanema, and I bumped into Royce Gracie. Royce Gracie is a Royce's friend, brother.
Yeah.
And we always were friends. We talked very nice. And Royce said, "No, my cousin is always like that. It's not the first time. Blah, 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 blah. Come to train with me." And then that was it. I went to the Royce Gracie. It was back in the days the worst move that I could ever done, because it was the part of the family that they took as enemies. Yeah.
No matter what you did, you were wrong.
There was no winning situation for me. And but anyway, like right now I can tell you this: I regret a lot, because right or wrong, he was the guy who took me, who let me train. He gave me everything. He gave me gis. He took me as a son. I remember he called my father and said, "You know what, Marcelo now will stay with me. If you don't mind." But my father said, "Yeah, okay, take it, whatever." Yeah. Is that why I was with Carson all the time? Because like I had time, and I used to help him a lot with the classes, no. But I regret. I should say thank you at the UFC, at least, even mad. Like the truth is, the guy was like an angel in my life back in the days. He helped me a lot.
When was the last time you got to see him face to face?
Was I guess when I was in Vale Tudo show with Carlos Barreto 4 against Kevin Henderman. I was walking and I saw him, and I had no other way to pass. I had to pass through him, no? And he started yelling at me. We have something in Brazil they call creonte. Creonte is like a
Yeah,
trader, no? And he
it's like
said,
a TV show, and
Marcelo
he yeah.
Mello creonte. But like every 5 seconds, he used to yell at me, Marcelo Mello creonte, Marcelo. And then I was in the front of him. I put my hand, he shook my hand, even shaking my hand. He was Marcelo Mello Creonte. He didn't stop, man. He couldn't stop. And I was, man, I said, I got nothing to say. I got to leave. And then I shook his hand, leave the place. And I could, from the back of my ear, Marcelo Mello Creonte, Marcelo Mello Creonte. The guy was crazy, man.
I saw him do that to Liborio. I saw him.
Probably.
Oh no, I saw it. I physically I was there when he did it to Liborio in like 2003, 2004 in Indiana. Just very loud. Conan Silveira was there. Carlos Diaz was there. Jay-Z Cavalcante was there. Thiago Alves was there. He just over and over, very loud. Greange.
Oh man, unbelievable! This is unbelievable.
he just. I mean, it was just a woman. I mean, and he never marries her. He couldn't get past it, huh?
Yeah, he had as we all have uh, uncapabilities. Yeah, I guess. An example: we were in the United States, and me and Vitor we used to go out, and he was mad at us because we speak English and he didn't speak English, and he was mad because we went out and we had the girls talking with us and he couldn't do it. Like we didn't have. He was in the United States back in the days. He wasn't the Carson Gracie that he was in Rio de Janeiro, and he was very jealous about that. And sometimes he was mad at us because things like that. Like from one side, he was the like a father to us. From the other side, he was a guy very jealous, uh, very different, like. But
Wow.
it's all right. He's a human.
He's human. He's human.
Yeah, he's a human. But at the end, I tell you this: like, if I knew now and could go back in time, I would do all over again. I will go to Carlson Gracie to
You can't
train
lie.
as
Yeah.
white belt, like everything again. I would do all over again. It was very very nice experience that I had, like with great people among me. Like you saw guys like Valid Ismail. Then people today they don't talk much about. Man, I saw his step by step, like the winning phase of Valid was amazing, amazing athlete, amazing man, amazing mind. Like if he puts his mind to do whatever in life, he would do great, man. Like those things inspire me a lot. Like be near those guys, like guys as Amaury Bitetti, very, very
Oh,
consistent, very humble, very. Even Marius
Bitetti.
Perry. Marius Perry was a mix of everything. Like he was very humble, very, but sometimes also he used to go out to nightclubs. But at the end, he found a way to make everything works for him. But Valid Ismail was also a different guy, a different guy.
Amaury Bitetti. He had so many tools, like yourself. Here, let me address it. May 7th, 1999, UFC 20. You fight David Roberts. David Roberts is an American guy. His brother fought on the UFC prior at UFC 19. Joey Roberts was his name. And when you came to the ring, the tools that you exhibited they were not normal. Like it was either you were just a boxer, you were just a wrestler, you were just a jiu-jitsu guy. Even Royce was very limited in his capabilities. And I will even say Rickson. If you watch Rickson stand up, it's very limited. On the jiu-jitsu side, it's very different. The tools that you put together, like Bitetti, was next level. It was very different than everybody else.
I always like it to train no gi better than gi. And I always believe that a jiu-jitsu fighter should know how to hit people, how to punch, how to throw elbows and everything like that. I don't agree with the jiu-jitsu that I see some guys, they sit
Today.
on the mat. Come on,
Yeah.
what is that?
Or
They
the guard
sit.
pull. The
Yeah,
guard
they
pull.
sit on the mat, man. That's if I take my wife to see a tournament, he said, "Is this what you do?" Like she will complain. Sit on the mat? No, he's not even. Yeah, it's a shame. And always was oriented to Vale Tudo in my mind. Like I really like it. I really like it, the subject. But the problem was this: back in the days, the UFC, they didn't pay nothing. Like for me, it was $1,000 to go and another $500 with the victory. I said, what? Like I saw myself as a clown. I said, what? $1,500 to get in the UFC was the Super Bowl from martial arts. Like I supposed to get more money, but
But you even said at the end, I want to fight 10 more times.
mm-hmm.
And then that's it. I remember I couldn't get enough. Like, what's Marcelo Mello doing? I really thought in my head
I
that
remember I went to Brazil in December from that year, and then they called me to UFC Japan, but they called me with 10 days before. I said, no, man, I can't. I'm here drinking, eating, doing, and overweight, like I'm in vacation time.
who was the opponent?
Was John Pereri. John Pereri was the
That's the
matchmaker.
that's the matchmaker.
Yes.
Who was the opponent offered?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Was some Japanese guy. We didn't
Okay.
even get into that. They said you should come here to and we go to Japan. I said when? 10 days. I said no, man, can't do it. 10 days before the fight. Not that I need that much, but I had to lose a lot of weight, but it wasn't. And especially to make no money. I said no. Again, $1,500. That's stupid. No.
I thought at one point you were going to be the guy to beat Pat Miletich.
Can I tell you something? I back in the days I studied him a lot because somehow I really saw him as a great fighter. Like
Phenomenal. One of the
yeah, as
greatest.
a great fighter. I
One of
said,
the greatest at the
this
weight class.
guy, we're gonna stay forever with the belt until somebody really, really good take it from him. Like won't be easy. The guy won't be easy. They take the belt from him. He had everything. He had the jiu-jitsu, he had the skills on the ground.
The wrestling, the
Yeah.
hips, the hips.
And standing, he was amazing. The guy was strong at the same time.
And cardio. He had cardio. But here's the thing, and I don't mean to interrupt. I apologize. At the end of your fight against Roberts, you were talking, you were communicating with the referee while just nailing elbows. And at the end of the fight, like, it's one thing having the skill set, it's another thing being mentally in the moment to where you get your breathing in and you don't overextend yourself. By the end of the fight, you're very communicative. Like, yeah, man, it was good. I want to fight 10 more times, and no big deal. It was very intimidating.
You know what? But that thing also came from the point that I was so nervous before the fight because once the fight is over, I was talking to myself. That's it. Why you were so nervous? It's this nothing. And I was like a kind of mad of me to be so nervous prior to the fight. Like is that why I said also? I can do every day. I can do all day long this thing right here. Because it was like once you step over there, you see that that's not a dragon on the other side. It's
Mhm.
like what can go wrong? You can lose, but that's it. Is a probability.
You had mentioned well you had mentioned that you were 51-4 in jiu-jitsu at that time. That's what you were announced as.
Yeah.
Was that in your weight class, outside of your weight class? Did you ever compete with the
I
national
fought. I
tournament?
fought the best turn. I was a middleweight, but the best tournaments that I fought was in the middle heavyweight. Somehow, I guess it was 7 kilos different or 8 kilos. People, I was strong as the middle heavyweight, but faster because I was a lighter. And the best tournaments that I had was in the weight division, one step up. Like, but was I used to go middleweight and middle heavyweight. That's it. I tried lightweight once. No, yeah, lightweight, but it was too much. I lost a lot of weight and didn't work for me. I never believe in those crazy diets to lose. I said, you're a fighter. You spend your entire life, an example, with 80 kilos. Why are you going to lose 10 kilos to fight?
No.
You are what you are with 80 kilos. Go there, fight with 80 kilos. I believe in that.
Miletich cut. He cut a lot. That was his one advantage over his competition. He knew how to cut weight.
Yeah, no, some guys they
Oh.
do. They sometimes they lose over 20 pounds or more, even more. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's
So
crazy.
Royce Gracie was announced as 51-1 in his UFC debut, with his only loss coming to Ricardo de la Hiva. But Carlson once said that he lost to a guy named Vitor Pachol.
Vitor Passion. I don't know who is that one.
Okay.
No. The thing is, back in the days when Royce was in Brazil, we didn't have them that many tournaments, jiu-jitsu tournaments, maybe twice a year, or you know, and he didn't had opportunity to really prove himself as he did in the UFC. And sometimes it's this: you pass 10 years losing like a regular guy, and then that's 1 year that everything happens. You know, I guess was with Royce. He was like preparing himself, and then the UFC extract the best Royce Gracie ever. He had to be the best Royce Gracie ever at the UFC. I guess he shined at the right time.
Hmm. So in 2003, there was a split between Carlson and the guys that later formed the Brazilian top team. Did you ever foresee that happening? Did that surprise you?
That surprised me because I'm gonna tell you why it surprised me. When I left and I started training with Helio Gracie, those guys they even turn out their faces from me. They stopped talking to me. A few of them they didn't even shake my hands. Yes, and the same guys who didn't shake my hands were the same guys who betrayed Carson. And is that why I was in shock? Because they were so they they seemed to be so loyal back in the days when they did what they done. I was, oh my God. Now what? They gonna say now that I am the only one who was wrong? I was wondering what they were gonna say now, you know, because they treat me very very different than what I believe that are supposed to be treated. You know, some people they stop talking to me like out of
And
nowhere.
it's something so stupid.
Well,
Like
and
it's so dumb. Like, hey man, come on, we're all men. Come on. Like you couldn't lie to him either. Like no matter what answer you gave, you were wrong.
uh-huh.
You can't lie. You can't lie about that. Like if your friend asks you to do something like that and you see it, You have to tell the truth.
No, and the other thing is this: 80% of the people that stopped talking to me back in the days, they did not even get the work to learn why I split from Carson. They didn't even know what happened. You know, they had this board in Los Angeles with my picture, and they used to throw. I do not say in English. They throw that thing that we have in bars, and we throw
Darts.
darts at my face. A friend of mine told me that they have a board with your picture and they throw darts in your face. He said that was unbelievable. It was good for one point. I said, man, I didn't know that I was so important. Look what they are doing, you know?
Do you ever see those guys? Any of them? Like
Yeah.
Alan
Uh-huh.
Goes? And
Later on, I saw them and they act like nothing happened. Like everything cool, nothing happened. For me, it's all right. Like what happened, we don't live in the past anymore. We don't live over there anymore. We are here. I don't want to be looking at the past, But it happened. What happened? Like I know what happened, but they didn't act all right. But it's life, right? It's life. We're not gonna get. Not all the time we're gonna get the good from the people.
no, but you learn a lot.
Yeah.
You learn a lot. Like, you know who your friends are. Did any of them reach out and try to be friendly, or was it just
No,
cut
right
off?
now they reach out. They're trying to be friendly with me and everything. But back in the days, no, man, no.
It's
I
hard. It's hard to
remember
forget. It's hard to forget.
I went to Brazil, I guess 2001, something like that. And I went to a club. There were 3 or 4 from the Brazilian top team over there. I tried to talk, they talk, and one of them I put my hand. The guy didn't even shake my hand, and I was, holy shit! I said, my God, I didn't do nothing wrong for the guy. But well, it happened. It happens. It happens.
You never forget that, though. You never forget.
The thing is, like, once we get older, we realize that
Wow.
be careful with the word friend. I consider myself a very good friend, very loyal, but I now I realize that not everybody is like that. Like we should not see the world by our own eyes. Like people are different, they think different, and what amazing me the most is they think they are right all the time. Right, my truth is better than your truth. Like but it's human behave.
You have to move on too. Like, you can't.
Yes, there is no
You
other
have
way.
to.
You gotta move on.
Yeah.
You gotta move on.
You had mentioned being at Paqueta versus Kevin Randleman. Obviously, Mark Coleman was there. I know it was I've seen the fight. It's a very, very crazy event. What was your experience like with Frederico Lapenda?
Okay. Back in the days, we we were involved in a lot of misconception from people who lost their power over us to manipulate us because we were with Frederico Lapenda. But they put a thing, they try to put a thing in our minds that Frederico Lapenda is stealing something from us. They are he's taking advantage from us. And this, no, man, the guy gave us one apartment to live in Beverly Hills. He put a gym 2 blocks away from UCLA, a jiu-jitsu academy. Our first jiu-jitsu academy was 2 blocks away from the UCLA, in the front of Bloomingdale's. There's a Bloomingdale's, was in the best spot ever. He put us on the newspapers, magazines. He took us to the UFC. He took us to dinner, bought clothes from us. The guy was spectacular back in the days. But the thing is, people lost control. Like, who is paying everything? Frederico Lapenda. Of course, he got to give some cards. He was the guy who was paying everything for everybody, you know? And I guess what they did with him wasn't right, man, because there was no other way to get in the places that we were without him. Like, people should be at least realize that that was the truth. Like, if we go to America without Frederico Lapenda, we're not going to live in Beverly Hills. We're not going to have a car, BMW to us to go everywhere. We're not going to have tickets, airplane tickets to everywhere, to go to Brazil, go back to Brazil, bring girlfriends and everything. The guy paid everything from us. Like, of course, he was the manager. He's supposed to get a cut from the fights, you know. And the people say, oh, he was getting too much money. Man, depends. If you have a 70% of $1 million, is better than 100% of nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. And everywhere you go with any manager you can think about, they will get a cut. But the problem is, jiu-jitsu guys back in the days, they were very, very, how is the word in English, man? They want a lot in exchange of nothing.
Right.
That was the thing. We wanted a lot in exchange of nothing. Like, oh, we are the jiu-jitsu Brazilian guys, and we are untouchable. We are the No, man, come on. In America, we were nobody. The thing was, at the very beginning, we were nobody.
Did you ever have a relationship with Sergio Bottarelli?
No, I saw him in 2 or 3 times. But no, never had. Somehow, never had, and never wanted to have. I don't know. He passed to me, just very polite, but never tried to talk, never tried to, no. And somehow never interest me to talk to him. Like,
What about Brigadero?
who?
Brigadero, the promoter?
Brigadero. I never met him. Brigadero.
Okay.
Brigadero.
Okay. Your background, like when you do a Google search on you, there's nothing. It's impossible. There's very, very little. So like the outside issues that sometimes people have, the partying, the crazy lifestyle, you've always just kind of flown under the radar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The one thing that I was able to see was Carmine Zocchi. That is
Yeah, there was
a
great student that I had. The guy was in Queens, New York. Like, the thing, if this guy were 10 years younger, he'd probably be a UFC champion, but easy. The guy loves jiu-jitsu more than me, like more than I did, man. It's unbelievable. Like, he was I guess, a bus driver around his 30s, mid-30s. And then he saw jiu-jitsu. He went crazy. He left his job and everything and said, I will do jiu-jitsu. And he did. He did a couple fights. He opened a school. And the guy breathed jiu-jitsu. Is very, very nice to see the passion that he has. Like,
so he was a black belt under you, but it seemed like I wasn't sure if it was carryover from whatever took place with Carlson, but it seemed like everybody kind of like to say, like point fingers at him. And to pretend that somebody such as yourself, it was almost disrespectful to you based on like him becoming one of your black belts. And I never understood that. Like, clearly you're a black belt. There's no one pretending you're not. You got it from Carlson and Royler.
Yeah, well, man, I really don't know why is that, but my credentials, like an example, another day, Helio Gracie signed, I guess, a black belt 6th degree. Carlson Gracie Jr. signed black belts. I have 3 or 4 diplomas from 3 different Gracies, man. And I didn't pay for diplomas at all, man.
It was really wild kind of seeing him kind of come under attack when
I read another day, if people don't attack you, you might do something wrong. No, sometimes people will attack you with no reason, right? Maybe I will tell you this: Carmine Zocchi, his spirit is the closest you ever gonna be from a Gracie guy, because he loves to fight. He fights everybody. He fights everyone. He's not a guy. Oh, give me 3 months to train. He's a fighter. He's a natural fighter. He's a natural fighter. Unfortunately, he discovered jiu-jitsu over 30s, I guess. For that. But I can tell you this: his will, the way he drives himself. He probably, if he starts jiu-jitsu at the age that I started, he'll be a great, great champion, even at the same place as those guys now, world champion UFCs, and for sure, that's for sure, no doubt about, no doubt about. A passion, man. He has a passion for jiu-jitsu, and I never saw him mistreat anybody. He's not a big mouth. He never talks about people. He's very polite, very nice guy, very funny guy. I really don't know why. Maybe because it's that. Maybe because he's very nice.
I think so.
People think that they have a right to talk shit about him because he's very nice.
In his response was nice. It was, hey, okay, man, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm under Marcelo Mello. And to me, I forgot about you. And what I did was I started watching all of the UFCs from the beginning. And I get to UFC 20 and I'm like, wait a minute. This was the guy. So then, of course, I, go on down that rabbit hole. And there's so little about you. And you had so much potential. Yeah. Fucking wild, man. Do you regret walking away?
Can you say again? I'm sorry.
Do you regret walking away?
Yeah, I sometimes I do a lot, and I pass from the UFC maybe around 7 years without even stepping on the mat. I was angry with jiu-jitsu.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was angry, man. I say, you know what? Because a lot of things supposed to happen and somehow didn't happen, and people that were worse fighters than me, they accomplished, and I was very angry, man. Very angry with that.
This is kind of like how I look at it. You've got this very, very small area in the world, in Brazil, and it's a big neighborhood. Everybody kind of knows each other. They might not be friends, but they know who each other are. And everybody becomes famous at different times.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, it's wild. It's like, no, it's just the guy down the street. Well, internationally, everybody in this group that were at the high end, the all-star team, if the entire all-star team becomes famous, and it's a sport really only located in Brazil, but years later, the entire world knows the entire starting lineup from the all-star team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre how that happens.
Yeah, it is. It is. Once I was with Hugo Duarte, the guy from Top Team. Very, very nice guy. I love that guy. And he set me up with a fight in Pride. He said, Marcelo, we had a fight for you in Pride. I said, okay. And then I realized that I was becoming very tired during the training sessions, more than other people. And I say, you know what? I'm gonna do some checks, my hormones and everything. And then I found something in my hypophysis called adenoma I don't know in English, adenoma. Like a little tumor on my hypophysis. Behind
in your brain.
The eye, my eyes, right here in the middle. And there was another reason why I stopped back in the days to fight, because they said if you get hit, the thing can,
You go blind.
whatever.
Yeah.
But turn out I didn't make the surgery. 1 year later, I did the CAT scan, the exam again. Nothing was found, and then I did for 7 years straight at the same birthday. Nothing was found. Or they misread at the first time, or it was a miracle, it disappeared. But
Probably the first.
another reason, yeah. There was a reason also why I kind of
Step back
a little bit. Yeah. And then not really, I got angry when I saw there was nothing. I said, my God, man, what is this? Like somebody is joking with me. Like,
it was a warning. It was a warning.
Yeah, probably. Some people tell me that. You gotta take that as a gift.
There was a rumor that you were also working with the guys from Chute Boxe for a while. Is that true?
Yeah. Yes. I went here. They treat me very nice. Like, of course, the training sessions were anything but nice. They were, but man, you get really hurt at a regular day. In a regular day, you get really hurt. Like, I don't know how they used to do back in the day, because people, they were walking after training. I wasn't walking after training. Like, very hard. They kick themselves like a full power, elbows and everything. Was an UFC every day. Like, and I have of there was Vanderlei Silva, Shogun, Ninja, everybody.
Anderson.
But
Yeah,
Anderson Silva wasn't there back in that at that time.
Okay.
But all the other names, they were there. It was like in a class, the same mat, over 60 guys. All of them, they want to kill you. All of them. No, even one guy was like a soft. Okay, I want to do just for my cardiovascular system. No, they want to kill you. And very rough. But they treat me very well. They were very receptive.
How long were you there for?
Between on and off, a year, I guess.
Okay, so it wasn't long. Okay.
Because what happened is this, right, that they split. The same as happened with Carson, happened right here too. Vanderlei Silva split, Shogun split, everybody split. Even a guy from Jiu-Jitsu that is my very nice friend that I have is Marcelo.
Cristiano
Marcelo.
Yeah, Cristiano Marcelo. He's the one that too. Yeah, he choked out Crazy Horse. Yeah.
He choked. Very nice guy. He's
good English too.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to get him. He's been difficult. I will get him on.
Oh, I can hook you up.
I talked to him. He's just too busy. He's too busy. He's one of those guys.
I will hook you up.
Your journey and your story. Here, you mentioned Junior. Do you ever see Carlson Gracie Jr. in person?
I saw, and in the gym that he has a franchise right here in Curitiba from under Gustavo Ferres, right? They had in 2020, he came here to give a seminar, and I didn't know. I was with regular clothes, and during the seminar, they said, Marcelo, you got to put the gi on. I said, no, I'm not going to do the seminar. They put the gi on. They were angry at me, right? And then I put the gi over my clothes, right? And Carson Gracie gave me the 6-degree black belt at the day. I have a video at my Instagram. He gave me the 6-degree black belt. Yes, was like a surprise for me also, no? And then we talk a lot. We talk about everything. We talk about the Brazilian top team, the guys. We talk about his father. We talk about, because he's a great fighter. He was a Gracie also, but if you didn't know that he did jiu-jitsu, he's the nicest guy ever. Like, you're gonna laugh all day long, man, among him. very nice guy.
Was it difficult, like communicating with him based on the history with his father?
No, no. I remember first thing that I told him, I said, man, good that you're here because I want to explain to you what happened. And he said, I know already. I said, you know? And then just to make sure that we were talking about the same thing, I explained anyway.
Yeah, of course. Oh,
Yeah, I
no,
explained
this is
anyway.
my opportunity.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, don't ruin my opportunity.
Right.
And
And
I
he
explained
knew
anyway.
that too.
Yeah, he said, I know already. And he said, I'm not, he even said, I'm not angry at you at all. I knew. And then he said, there's other people that I'm angry. It's everybody but you. Like, and I know the people. I know who they are angry. Who he's angry with. I know.
Okay, so I've interviewed a lot of those guys already, and Murilo Bustamante cried when talking about him. Like he knew when he had to close the door and move on. When he showed up, when Carlson showed up over at Chuck Liddell's and said, "I'm here to help you beat Bustamante." He's like, "That's when I knew I had to move on." Carlson just seems like as beautiful as he was also difficult.
No, as I told you, very difficult in a sense that so easy to manipulate. You know, he was easy to manipulate. Like if 10 people talk with him about me in the same day, he will have 10 point of views about myself, about me. Like very easy to manipulate. Like a child. For a few subjects, he was like a 12 years old child. Like a very easy to manipulate, very easy to distort the reality. Like to
Yeah. Here, Alan Goes. He says they made up at the end, and I believe it because I think he opened up a school and he was certified under Carlson. I don't know what happened there. Mario Sperry doesn't care. Yeah, I mean he cares, but it was
uh-huh.
it was kind of that attitude. Uh, Liborio says they made up. I don't know. I know what I watched in Indiana between the two of them. Conan Silveira says I was never really one of his guys. He
Yeah,
was.
Conan, they got together in 1994. When we went to United States, the first step, we were in Miami with Conan. Me, Vitor, and Carlson, we spent, I guess, 1 week or 2 weeks with Conan, and then Carlson talked with him, and Conan became one of Carson Gracie's boys.
Yeah, he was like, he was my guy, but I was never really part of the team. I mean, that's his
Yeah,
stance. That's what
yes,
he said.
that's true. That's true. Very nice guy too. I really like
Yeah,
him. Very nice.
yeah. Bustamante cried. Filo doesn't speak English. Tavares I've never talked to. Arona, I don't think speaks English. I heard Arona's doing really bad.
Ronald, I don't know, man. I haven't. One
I heard
thing,
physically he's not doing good.
physically.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a shame, man. Because the guy
yeah.
was a monster. Oh my
And
god.
Ninja too. I heard Ninja is
Yeah,
having
Ninja got a
issues.
problem with his eye. I guess he was blind from one eye, blind, and it's easy to bump with him right here in Curitiba. It's easy to bump with him. But I guess he got blind. He got blind from one eye. People told me.
Wow.
Very nice too. Very nice guy. Very nice guy. Like when I say very nice, doesn't have the fighter attitude. Like it's you don't even know that he's a fighter if you don't see any ears and broken ears and things like that. Yeah, yeah.
Casio Cardoso, I've never spoken to him. Babel Duarte. It's a shame. Like when you look at Parampina, when you look at all of the guys that were on the team, before there was any money, yourself included, they're just murderers. You can't compete against that room.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very bad day. That is a very, very, very bad day if you walk into that room with an attitude.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I have a friend called Rui Menezes. I remember I was already training Carson, and he had the desire. I said, but meet me at the corner and introduce me to those guys because I won't go there by myself. He was afraid.
No,
He was afraid.
no, no.
Yeah.
People like, have you ever read Robert Drysdale's books?
No, no.
He does like a history of jujitsu, and the interviews that he does with the history of jiu-jitsu, the people that were walking up the stairs to Carlson's gym, they say you get butterflies, like you get nervous just
Mhm.
walking into practice.
Man, we have this an example. Only two guys could represent a belt and a weight division. Only two. But Carson Gracie at some point had over 300 students. What? Yeah, he had to do a little inside tournament to
Oh
get
my
those
God.
two guys. Yeah, it was a war, man. Oh my God, it was a war. Yeah, you talk about butterflies. Yeah, man, that was butterflies all about, man. Like we know, like this week will be the qualifies, like for yeah. And people they were friends during the week. They don't talk.
No, you can't. You can't.
You don't talk anymore with the guy from your weight division. Like he's an enemy. And some at some point in my weight division, Carson Gracie used to say, "You know what? Marcelo Mello is already in. Doesn't have to do the qualifying, and only between you guys, the other guys, they were very mad. No,
Oh,
they tried to kill me for real." Because they say, "Why?" They say, "I supposed to do the qualifying as well, right?" But that
he he's such a like a puzzle, like you said, so simple but also so difficult.
yeah, put like this is a guy who didn't have the opportunity to choose what he liked in life. Like it wasn't an option, be a lawyer or be a doctor. No, you're gonna be a fighter, like you or not. Like it's not
Wow.
like today's. And the family, he made a name for the family, and people like forgot about him, betrayed him, and he's supposed to be appreciated by everybody, but a few people really appreciate. They appreciate what he could provide, but not the person that he was. You know, people, yeah,
That's very different.
yeah, a lot of people they appreciate even with us. Some people that we're gonna find later on, they appreciate what we can provide, not the people that we are. And while they appreciate while you can provide, once you stop provide, you no longer exist. You know, that's hard, but that's life.
That's some deep shit, bro.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is human nature, man.
He like Bob Shamrock, the two people that would adopt people. They would literally, no, 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 you live with me now. You live with me now.
Uh huh.
So it's like he gave everything to the sport, including his relationships at times.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Imagine there were people they didn't have a place to sleep. One of the mats over there were like 3 4 guys sleeping during the entire year. They didn't
No,
pay rent. They didn't pay nothing. Just they sleep over there. They train. They used to fight. But was this kind of gym from the 300 guys that I told you? Probably 180 or more didn't pay. Was for free. Of course, they had this um, close eyes, in what there was a guy, a friend, Carlson's friend, was Amaury Bitetti's father, was his partner, and they were not really looking for who would pay, who didn't, and people took advantage. Like if you go in the morning, you could train jiu-jitsu in the morning, and people from the nighttime that don't even know that you exist. Like there's a gap in between. You could go your entire life without pay the fee, the gym, because the nighttime is a different people. Yeah, the system has a lot of a lot
Pulls.
of
Very porous. Yeah.
yes.
Amaury Bitetti, that's another guy. He was too small for Don Fry. His
Uh-huh.
skill level was through the roof.
No, the guy is an encyclopedia. Is I don't. He knows a lot of jiu-jitsu. Great from back in the days, right? The great body composition, great mind. Also a great mind.
And born into it. Bred. He was bred for it.
But the thing is that the jiu-jitsu in Brazil back in the days, we were ready, and our mind was. We were made to fight against big boys. Like we even prefer to fight against big boys because they give us like more status.
Prestige.
Yeah,
Prestige. Yeah.
prestige. Like I beat a guy with 100 kilos. Oh my god, like. But things change, and in the UFC we learn why they have weight divisions. Like that's a reason for weight divisions, right? Like you see in the Olympic Games, 4 kilos in the Greco-Roman. That makes the total difference. A guy that is gold medal may not win in the division up here up high, you know. And is
Wow. Yeah. Bitetti, I've sent him 15 messages. I don't think
yeah.
I don't know if his English is
Yeah,
good or
I
that
don't
good.
think I'm not sure about his English. Maybe I don't know. Back in the days, I, I think back in the days he didn't speak. Maybe right now I don't know.
Wow. Wow.
That
Man.
was all. That's supposed you're gonna have fun with him.
Oh, I tell you, Marcelo, I can't explain to you how much this means to me, man. Thank you so much for coming on,
No,
brother.
I'm the one who is very was a pleasure. Thank you a lot, and whatever you need me to talk to people, just let me know. Send me WhatsApp, and I'm gonna hook
I
you up.
tell you, I might do something where you sit in and we talk with somebody else because you're so friggin' good, man. Your English is poof.
I was nervous about that, man. I said, man,
No, it's good.
the guy want to start talking. That so far I don't talk English with nobody right here. No, and I said, well,
It's good. It's good.
I
It's
might do
good.
like well, I hope it worked.
Excellent. Marcelo Mello, you're an absolute gentleman. Thank you, sir.
I'm the one who thanks a lot, man. Everything. God bless you and
You
keep
too.
doing. And again, whatever you need me, just let me know.
I will be in touch. Thank you, sir.
All
Take
right.
care. Bye bye. Ladies and gentlemen, please like, share, subscribe. I really need it. We're doing real well on Spotify, but like on YouTube and Apple, comments are greatly, greatly appreciated. We're going to keep history alive, just like this one. Not be a name that you're familiar with, but the learning experience from it, I think, is undoubtedly pretty intense and pretty incredible. And we're going to keep these things going. Thank you.